Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. It is April 19th, 2022, and I spend time on Tuesdays and Fridays talking with folks about job search, hiring, staffing, you know, leadership, management, dealing with workplace related issues so that you get advice from someone who's lived in this world. Well, frankly, it's been my entire career so far. And if you've got a question for me, you can put it into chat. I'd be happy to answer it for you. In the future, you can message me through LinkedIn, through my page there at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. And I'd be happy to cover your question in the next show. And I'll also mention to you my website, thebiggamehunter.us, has a ton in the blog that'll help you in these areas. Plus, you can schedule time for a free discovery call, schedule time for coaching. I'd love to help you. I've got a little bit of a schedule issue today. I have to be off in 25 total minutes. So I apologize that this is going to be a more succinct show than it normally is, but it's the way it is. I have two pre-interviews to do back-to-back beginning at 1:30 Eastern, and I've got to fix an issue with my scheduling software that didn't create a buffer to give me a little bit of extra time. So I'm going to have a hard out at 1:25 Eastern, and I hope I'm able to get to your question. And again, just add your questions into chat. You'll cut the line so this way I can get to your question live while you're here, okay? Now, I'm going to skip the coffee toast because this is a shorter show than usual and start off with a question I received from someone. Is software development really a dead-end job after age 35 to 40? No. But to stay in a developer job after 35 to 40, you start bucking up on different biases that people have and different expectations people have about where you should be professionally. So you should start transitioning into lead roles or manager roles at some point during this period. And you could always go out and do consulting so that in this way, you're getting a higher rate than you might as an employee. Eventually, you'll have to circle back to industry and start thinking about developing the skills that will put you into leadership if you go the contractor route. But no, it's not a dead end by age 40. You can go another 5 years or so, as we record this. But if you want to do something more, you got to transition in some way. Some people transition out of the field entirely. Some people start transitioning into software management. Whatever it is, there comes a point where to make more money, you've got to improve the numbers or change what you do and not just simply code. Why do many people think that management consultants are like scammers? When I saw this question a few minutes ago, I thought to myself, is there a punchline behind this? Obviously, these are not people who know what it's like to work as a management consultant in any way, shape, or form. The ones who are scammers are not real management consultants. The real ones, do incredible work for their clients. They're not perfect, but who is these days? The result winds up being that the notion that consultants are scammers is ridiculous. Excuse me. I'm going to sneeze at some point. Excuse me. The idea that management consultants are scammers is ridiculous and reflects on the person asking the question, not on the profession. You don't understand what a management consultant does, and thus you think of them because you don't understand it as being a problem. They aren't. They do world-class work, and some are better than others, just like in any other field. So scammers, absolutely not. As someone looking for a job, is it better to tell recruiters that you still have a job or not? Well, Let me start off with LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a preference to people who are working. The algorithm doesn't recommend people not working as much as it does people, or as highly as people who are working. Their belief is that employers, third party recruiters, want to see people who are working. And thus, it will favor those people. Now, in terms of talking with recruiters, if you're not working, lying to them, well, you may wind up getting caught. Is that the way you want to present yourself? You can present yourself as not aggressively looking for work. So if you are working, the truth is you may not be aggressively looking for work. They may reach out to you trying to recruit you for a job. Have them ask you, "Are you out there looking?" I'm not actively looking, but for the right opportunity, I consider things. Can I get a copy of your resume? Sure. I need a couple of days to update it, but I'm sure I can get it to you by day after tomorrow, at the latest the day after that, which gives the illusion that you're updating your resume. So don't always appear eager as though you're jumping through hoops because you're aggressively looking for work. Always play the hand as though you're not actively looking, that they're reaching out to you. They should be selling you on the opportunity. And as such, take advantage of their bias about passive job applicants. Let me just explain what I mean by that. Passive job applicants are people that recruiters don't believe are actively looking for work, that they need to recruit for the right opportunity, and that's going to cause them to change jobs. That bias I helped to create many years ago because I could not afford, at that time, print advertising, and thus created this nonsense that basically said, I'm the person who finds the best person, not the best person who reads the job ads in the New York Times on Sunday, which was the place of choice back in the Stone Ages. So from the standpoint of what they prefer, passive applicants, ones who will change for the right opportunity, are considered preferable. Recruiters sometimes sell these people to clients as being, you never see their ad and you never see their resume because you never see their background. They never see your ad. So fundamentally, what you need to do is deal with that bias by promoting yourself as not actively looking for work. Now, if you're out of work, you can't pull this off. If you are working, you can. You can't really pull it off because at some point you're going to fill out an application. An application is a legal document. And as a legal document, when they contact your previous employer and they find out that you've been out of work for 5 months and you said you're working and not aggressively looking for work, they smell BS. Maybe they don't extend the offer. Maybe they do, but you lied on the application and that becomes grounds for termination. So is it preferable not to indicate that you're out of work? Yes. Next question. How would a typical hiring manager review a resume of a job candidate who's worked at 10 different companies? So the first thing I have to ask is that 10 companies over one period of time. 40 years? Well, right off the bat, they're going to consider you an older professional. If it's 10 companies in 5 years, well, they may wonder if you were doing consulting during that period of time or temping. Excuse me 1 second. And try and sort that out. And you should make it easy for them to know that. Don't make them ask you, were you consulting during the last 3 years when you had 7 different employers? Or is this just an awful job history? Becomes the way that they think about it. So with a typical hiring manager, how would they view a candidate who's worked at 10 different companies? A consultant. They think that maybe you were consulting during this period of time. But you should not make them wonder this for themselves. You should give them that information in your resume and don't make them work to get it. Next question. How many candidates does the HR typically interview? Hmm. So the answer is as many as they need to. So they don't want to interview 150 people. They don't have time for that. They'll use software. They'll use their own review techniques to identify resumes that might have backgrounds that fit a role that they're recruiting for. 5 people, 10 people tops. They're not going to go above that, at least in the first cut. They go through the first round. They go through 10 backgrounds. No one fits. They may add some more in, or they may go back to the manager to identify what a tighter fit would look like, or what would be a looser fit that they'd find acceptable. But they're not going to interview 100 people. They're going to interview a finite number and then let it go from there. Okay, we got another question. Why is failing to send a thank you email after an interview a mistake? One that can cost you a job you were about to get. That doesn't happen all that often. Usually, managers will think to themselves, he was busy. Or they won't even notice that you didn't send a thank you letter. But they like to see one. So a thank you email that basically says, thanks so much for making time to meet with me today and discuss the opportunity at, fill in the name of the company name. I just want to reiterate a few points that came up in the interview. And then you list some of the attributes that you have that fit the role that they're trying to fill. And I'm eager to hear from you about next steps. I do hope I'm chosen. Whatever it is, say something that indicates you're excited and think you may be a terrific asset to the organization. Keep it simple. I'm doing better than I thought here. I've got 2 more questions for today. And the first one is, why are LinkedIn, or let me do this again, why are the LinkedIn recruiters poor at matching jobs when LinkedIn is a great matching tool? The answer is, what do you think they're using to do this poor matching? Seriously, what do you think they're using? They're using the LinkedIn search algorithm. And in using it, LinkedIn is not returning great results. So what they next do is they mass in-mail invites to you. I'm doing a search for a client that's looking for someone with such and such background. I saw your profile, even though they haven't, and was wondering if you might be interested in a role like that. If so, message me back. Let's schedule a time to speak, or some other way that basically reaches out to them and indicates you'd like to talk to them. The long and the short of this situation is that they are not so bad at matching candidates or people with jobs. LinkedIn is. As a result, sometimes the fuzzy logic in LinkedIn doesn't do a great job of identifying people for them. That's what's going on. As of now, this is the last question. If you have a question for me, just put it into chat and let's just see. Oh, that's the one before. Please put your questions about job search, hiring, management, leadership, or scenarios where you need advice about a particular workplace issue. Put those into chat. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Visit thebiggamehunter.us to schedule a time for a free discovery call, a coaching session, to visit my blog with more than 12,000 searchable posts. Find out about my courses, books, and guides. There's just a lot there to help you. Also, subscribe to JobSearchTV.com on YouTube. You can download it on Amazon and subscribe to No BS Job Search Advice Radio in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where it's a video podcast, Amazon Music, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay. Let's go to the next question, please. Let's pause there. And this is the final question for now. How do you tell a new employer you're interviewing for that you're leaving your current job because of the work environment? For example, we see this next part, the first part of this next sentence isn't clear. I've been with the company for only a year. Why are you wanting to leave? His answer was, or her answer was, the work environment doesn't allow for me to collaborate with others, have the flexibility like most, and be able to have an opportunity for growth. I would say it as my current firm, they like the work that I do so much, they want me to stay in the job for the rest of my life. That's not for me. I want to learn. I want to grow. I'd like to get ahead. That's what I'm really looking for in an organization. And as good a job as I'm doing, there doesn't seem to be much upside for me. So I'm trying to identify other situations that fit me as well. And that's the way I play it. So 16 minutes and change. I'm Jeff Altman. Hope you found this helpful. Visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us, where I have a ton in the blog to help you. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Have a terrific day and be great. Take care.